So we all love classic cars, but let's face it, technology has come a long way. Let's be real, old car lighting sucks. Well, lucky for you, there's a lot of modern options that you can retrofit into your classic car that really elevate the lighting. Yeah, and they not only look good, but they're way brighter as well. So in this video, we're going to be installing some modern lights here into the farm truck and talking about some options of modern lighting for your classic car. So here's the deal. Admittedly, I'm not an expert in headlights, but luckily Nick says that he is. So hopefully he can explain some headlight stuff to me. Yeah, I can. So you were asking about options on headlights, and the way that I like to boil it down, there's 4 main options of headlights when you're talking about upgrading a classic car. Option number 1, grab a new sealed beam headlight. So what came in all of our cars were a single unit that had the bulb and the glass, everything combined with the 3 little prongs on the back of it, or 2 if it was a high beam, and it was a sealed beam headlight. Many of those now, if you buy a replacement, they're halogens, which is just the lighting technology. But you have a sealed beam replacement as option number 1. Option number 2 is buying a housing that has a replaceable bulb that goes into the back of it. That's a super common upgrade. That replaceable bulb can be many things, a halogen bulb. This one's a lot more functional because you can change your light output to have a brighter light. You can have it be bluer if you want a higher color temperature. Basically, you can really tailor the light, and if the bulb goes out, you don't have to replace the entire housing. You're actually just replacing the bulb. Okay. So a halogen bulb replacement is that option 2. Option 3 uses that same exact housing, but it uses an LED light, and that's what we have here. This is actually the most modern upgrade, is using an LED type of a light inside a H4 or similar type housing. And option 4 is using a projector HID, which is a high intensity discharge light. These got really popular about 10 years ago. LEDs actually took the place of these and are a little bit more modern, but that uses a different lighting technology and obviously a replaceable bulb that works best not in a reflector, but in a projector capacity. Are these a projector and these are not a projector? Correct. What's the difference? So the difference is your light on your lights here shine up against a tiny little reflector, and it uses the entire width to reflect light. And that's good. It casts a nice wide output of light that still could be bright, but think of it more of a floodlight. A projector is more precise, so you can kind of get away with having a different glass design, and you're going to end up with, if done correctly and you buy a high quality one of these, a sharper cutoff line, which is what I was talking about, where you can focus the light in areas where you need it and have it be really bright, but not shining and blinding somebody that's coming in oncoming traffic. So you have a lot more precision with a projector than you do a reflector, and that's why all new cars, most new cars rather, especially ones with high dollar lighting, have projectors instead of reflector technology. But again, you can do those with halogens or with LEDs. LEDs like we have just lend themselves really well to having a projector versus a reflector. So those are really your 4 options. So of all those 4 options, what are the pros and what are the cons? Yeah, so basically the sealed beam replacement is going to be the most cost effective. That's the easiest, plug and play, same old car, same technology. Moving up, the replaceable housing with an H4, either halogen or LED or HID bulb is probably the best option for somebody if they're just trying to spend minimal dollars. Again, there's LED bulbs that cost a lot, and there's some that are really inexpensive. The housing itself actually controls the light, so depending on reflector or projector, you could spend a ton of money or a little bit of money. As far as option number 4, I think LEDs actually are the best of the entire options laid in front of us. HIDs used to be the gold standard, but the reality is that even in HID setup, they're more finicky. They're not instant on like an LED, so turning them on and off, they take a second to like warm up when you turn them on. They're a lot more prone to breaking because of shaking and rattling, so if you have an old car and it vibrates a ton, your life line on the HID is going to decrease. LEDs last way longer. They use way less energy than an HID. They're just as easy to replace. And again, they're more efficient because there's hardly any energy lost due to heat. HIDs still get hot like a halogen. The other thing is you can fine tune the bulbs that you get to the exact output light, both intensity and color temperature. So you can have, say, 4200 Kelvin in color temperature and have a nice white soft light. Or you could crank it up to 6,000, for instance, and have a bluish hue. And so you can change and mix and match and get them exactly how you want it of the color temperature and intensity.
What is the con of a modern LED like that?
There really isn't a con. There isn't a con to these. The other big benefit of these versus halogen is they pull way less power, so it's way less strain on your alternator and your entire charging system. If you have a newer modern vehicle, not that we're talking about that, but you would have to put a resistor in. So there's really no con in a muscle car application. I think focusing on a good housing is going to be key, because matching a good housing that you want to use to a good bulb, you can kind of get the right setup depending on whatever budget you have and maximize your light.
So if somebody wanted to go really crazy with a visual look and have all the bells and whistles with all the modern tech, what would that entail? Because this is all pretty much original looking modern stuff.
Yeah, so there's a good question. So there's a lot of good options there. They all revolve around really any of these modern housings, where you can order them with additional lights like I have here for a turn signal inside there, an LED light. A lot of these housings can come already outfitted with halos that can be controlled both as a daytime running light or even with your turn signal, so that you can have a white light, and then when you flip a turn signal, it lights up orange around there to go with your turn signal lights. And so those are all really cool, like, upgrade options that you could do. Obviously not on a sealed beam headlight like the old school ones, but really any of the new ones you can have retrofitted to have those halos and some of those additional bells and whistles, aside from the primary light output.
So I've seen Broncos, retrofit Broncos, have a really interesting light that seems to have like 4 little lights inside. What are those?
That's just a certain configuration of an LED light. There's a ton. There's hundreds of LED lights. Some of them are super inexpensive. I would recommend that anybody who's really looking into getting one of those to read reviews, because there's some of those that, even though they look cool and they look modern, the light output is even worse than something bone stock. Maybe not an old car, but some of them just have terrible light output. So you're going to want to be sure to get light that's not going to blind other people and that's going to be an upgrade from a lighting perspective in lighting performance.
Perfect. Well, how hard are these to install?
These are going to be super simple, and in fact, the actual bulbs themselves are plug and play. So hopefully it's just a matter of taking your other ones out, popping these ones in, and seeing how bright they are.
Let's do it.
Let's get after it.
Okay. Scalpel. Perfect. How many guys does it take to change a headlight?
We should call a couple friends.
Yep. And I think we'll probably have 3 Phillips inside.
I think we're going to be straight slot on the inside.
What do you want to bet?
Care to make a wager?
$100.
$5.
Okay. Good grip.
1, 2,
3.
2.
1, 2, 3.
That one is...
We were both wrong. Agree to disagree.
Okay. All right. So here comes the most complicated part of this entire install. Evan, what I'm going to need you to do is hold this with one hand, gently remove the plug with the other hand.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
Sealed beam.
We'll do a quick little comparison on the front.
That can only go one way.
Looks stock.
Okay.
Okay.
Would you do the honors?
I will.
And reassembly time.
So here's something we found out. With this modern boot that sits on the back of this housing, you might need to radius this out a little bit. We found this wouldn't sit perfectly flush, so we're going to do it right. We're going to make it flush. Nice patina on there.
Yeah.
Authentic farm truck, baby.
Looking real good.
Shall we turn it on and see side by side how it looks?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. Quite the drastic difference between both of those lights, I'll say. Pretty insane.
Yeah. Dare I say, night and day different?
I'd say this job is about a 9 out of 10 for difficulty.
Yeah. I think this is actually a good job for anybody who if they've got an old vehicle and they don't really know how to wrench on it or haven't done any work on it themselves, this is a good entry-level DIY job, because it's, in all reality, a piece of cake. Yeah. This way? Yeah. Okay, the new headlight is in. This is the second one. Here's the old one. We're gonna get rid of this, and I say we turn these on and see how it compares with what these old halogens used to look like. Yeah, and again, the cool thing there is these LEDs look exactly like the old school halogen. So if somebody wasn't up close and knowing the kind of bulb there was, they wouldn't be the wiser. It looks the exact same as stock. Hopefully the light performance is a little better. Let's check it out. The final result. All right, Nick, hit the lights. Ooh, that's so much better. Wow, way better. Way brighter. It lights this whole shop up, where those other ones barely look like a couple of candles in the front. Yeah, that was dangerous what you had. This is so much better. What do you figure we can do with these now? Find a nice landfill to lay these to rest?
Throw them in there, please. Never put them in a vehicle again.
Yeah.
The LEDs we put in the truck, I think, are perfect. I love how that turned out. Recommended upgrade if you've got the budget and that's what you're trying to do to your classic car. I think that's a great option.
Yeah, and pretty simple, right? 30 minutes with a screwdriver and mediocre skills, and you got it done.
yeah, mediocre skills. I'm working on it. Yeah, well, again, if you're interested in upgrading your Resto Mod with some other things, we've got a pretty good video that shows the 5 most common Resto Mod upgrades.
Thanks so much, you guys. We'll see you in the next video.